Hey, it's Werner, and you're listening to Finding Frequency. One man's quest to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, one day at a time. Wow, has that been a time? It's been a while since I've said that, right? I just started thinking back to some of the episodes I've done, and I can't believe I'm looking at like 400 and something already. And, I had this custom jingle at some stage. I have this thing that I always say, and I feel like when I say this, and I tweaked it a little bit the last couple of days just to change things up a little bit, but it sets the tone for me. It's like the way that I get into the Finding Frequency vibe. Now I'm going to be talking about what was extraordinary in my day. And what is extraordinary at this time? Well, unfortunately, I went and I bought some mead, some honey wine, and afternoon, I do tend to pour myself a little toot. It's better than the coffee addiction that I have, probably. I don't know. And I enjoy it because I don't buy it a lot. So it's a nice little drink to have at this time where it's not too cold, not too hot, because I don't think it's much of a summertime drink. So I am definitely doing that. Feeling a little bit lost in messiness because I think I'm a little bit of a factory worker. I like to have my things and my processes, and this is the weird thing because design in itself, and I'm not talking about pictures and things, design, finding solutions, innovation, customer experience, all these things that I like to dabble in, is messy. There's no stability. It's always crazy. And the fact that kind of from a business perspective, content creation, personal life, whoa, it feels a little bit messy at the moment. I really feel like it's change of season, and hopefully I can latch onto something, because if all the aspects are messy, it's a bit unstable and you don't feel comfortable. And don't worry, Martha's not kicking me out the house. It's just we have a few decisions to make about a bunch of personal things, and there's a direction that I want to go in, and then there's a direction that she thinks she wants to go in, and then there's probably in the middle the direction that we should consider going in, for our future. And I've discussed some of those things here before. And we got a bit of a curveball again yesterday, more information, and nothing bad. But I can't really discuss it now with you until I know more. But yeah, so that is a bit messy. Business-wise, also a little bit messy. It's going, I guess. So, but at least it's not standing still, right? Right? Indeed. But I thought that I'd share this thing. My dad kind of sent me a message, and it sparked me to think about just talking about this aspect, because I do tend, and I've made my position clear about where I stand about things, in life, especially politically speaking. I'm definitely not orange, but I hope you got that. But, and I'm by no means saying that I am perfect at all. When it comes to gender equality and even racial things, I do feel that I've grown over a period of time, and I've gained insights, because I had to go through all kinds of experiences in South Africa. And I'm not saying that I am so much had a apartheid experience, but rather I saw my government in a different light, and I saw my culture in a different light, and I saw a whole bunch of things from different perspectives. And while I don't deny any of this, I like to make fun of it, yes, and I am it. There are certain things that I wanted to make sure that I stand by, or at least claim that, because I do mess up all the time. And I think we need to be patient with each other when we mess up, because I think, people talk about this cancel culture, and sometimes, blah, 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 but we do screw up, and we need to reach out to each other and help each other, because, I say the wrong things more than often. But the one thing I would say, though, which is super important, and I also I want to do more of it, and I've been lucky to surround myself with people who have been helping me along. And it's not really relationships where they go, "Yo, Werner, you're wrong. Let me tell you what I think." It's through conversations. Because when it comes to gender and also race, you can't really make a decision or really build a perspective on what the truth is unless you've spoken to someone of color, or you've spoken to someone who is not the same sex as you. And it sounds so obvious, man. Crazy obvious. But it's, I think, super important because I don't think we always do that. I have an opinion about all Africans in Africa. Have you ever spoken to one? Then the classic, I have a friend who's black. No. Have you had a conversation? I mean, and the reason I mention this is that I had a conversation with Jonathan yesterday. Now, also, I have to also come clean. And this is not like, oh, I'm not super politically correct, blah, blah, blah. But between you and me, I can't give a toss about statues. Really, I can't. I also, I get switched off by adoration of human beings. Now, for example, I didn't know Prince Philip, for example. Maybe he was a good guy, maybe not. He was a guy. He's not more important than my uncle who died a couple of years ago. He's not more important than my grandma, who was a saint in my eyes. But my grandma doesn't get to be on BBC day in, day out, day in and day out. I'm so tired of seeing it. But therein lies the problem. Because sometimes we define our insights and our understanding based on the news channel that we watch, or some of the comments people who are same as us make. And to give you an example, and I was going to drop into it, it's just yesterday again, and this wasn't an intentional thing, but I was talking to Jonathan and we were talking about different things. I didn't even know how we got to this. I mean, it wasn't just, hey, Jonathan, let's sit down and teach me something. We were just talking about different things, and I think it was probably the Prince Philip thing, because I've been feeling bad about the way I feel because I couldn't care. Someone lost a grandfather. I feel for that, but like having like a guy who's had a great life. Okay, he's 99. He had a good innings. Let's move on. There's a lot of things to solve here. But then Jonathan, we were talking about it, and we came to this point where we were talking about statues and things, and he mentioned that he's lost a few friends the last couple of years, especially with the Black Lives Matter thing, where people kind of started not talking to him anymore because he made it clear how he felt about things. And one of the things that was discussed, he said in a messaging back and forth with people, and he's from the Caribbean, is that someone was really latching onto history and saying, like, why should we destroy the statues of Christopher Columbus? Now, on the one side, when I grew up, I was taught certain things about Christopher Columbus. But then in Jono's world, where he grew up, he saw the direct cause and things that Christopher Columbus did in the Caribbean. Terrible things. I mean, even his own men said that he went a little bit crazy. And this is not a conversation about Christopher Columbus. For me, that's showing a human being and showing that there's two sides to a story, and that I need to be sensitive about the other side of that story. And then I think, is it truly important what Christopher Columbus did a couple of years ago? Oh, really? Should I know about it? Yeah, put it in a book. Teach me in school what happened. But let's stop glorifying human beings for what they've done. Because around every human being, there's something that is human. And sometimes there's things that they've done that is terrible. Terrible. Did it happen? Yes. Okay, cool. I'd rather have a nice park than having a bunch of old farts standing around to have pigeons sit on them. But maybe I'm just simplifying this damn thing. I don't know. But I really think that you have to have that conversation, and then it's then how you react to that conversation. Do you feel defensive, or do you say, you know what, I can kind of understand how this guy feels about it. If I take this thing away and we can share the space, maybe put down a table, sit down and have a meal together where the statue stood, what's better? I don't know. Maybe I'm just dreaming. But it's a good dream to have, I think. Okay. Time to wrap this up and sip a few more sips of mead. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I encourage you to, if you're ever in Poland, to grab a bottle. It's something I forgot about. My wife is awesome. She reminded me of this, so I get to enjoy a couple of sips more as I ease myself into the evening. That's it. I appreciate you. What is appreciate? I appreciate you. And seriously, thank you for listening. Ciao.